Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Season 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks, Episode 3 entitled Mining the Mind's Mines, which was, let's face it, I don't think one of the best episodes of Lower Decks that we've had. It had a couple of little moments in it, I guess, that were sort of, intriguing. Cameo from Dr. Leah Brahms, Geordie's old love interest from Next Generation. But really beyond that, there wasn't really that much to offer in this episode. Nonetheless, I'm going to take you through a few bits and pieces and have a general chat about what we happened to see in this episode and our thoughts on it. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, please do so. Click on that big red button to stay up to date and current with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. So we introduced at the start of this episode these green psychic orbs that were turning people into stone. This psychic mines, I think they called them, whereby a sort of a Federation science team is kind of in cahoots with the stone people who reside on this planet to, let's face it, will use the psychic mines to data mine Federation secrets. And we had this USS Cerritos teaming up with the Carlsbad, another second contact ship here to kind of basically unpack the situation, do some menial tasks on the planet, cleaning up some orbs, do a bit of maintenance and everything. We did see at the start of this episode the USS Hood, which was the ship that Riker was the first officer on before he moved on to the Enterprise in Encounter at Farpoint. So I guess that was sort of a nice little in-reference there, seeing the USS Hood again, the old Excelsior class vessel. And we have a bit of rivalry between the Carlsbad lower deckers and the Cerritos lower deckers, where they're all kind of trying to complete their tasks first, get it done most efficiently. And each party were kind of, I guess, a bit starstruck by the other one. I think the Lower Decks team were very competitive with the Carlsbad team, and the Carlsbad team had heard a lot of stories about the Cerritos team, and everyone was trying to compete to get their tasks done quickly. Obviously, these psychic minds that were activating in the process of the cleanup. We were getting Mariner seeing visions of the Andorian Jennifer, who obviously she has a bit of a crush on. We had Boimler seeing visions of a Starfleet admiral trying to tempt him with the possibility of a promotion to captain. And biggest of all, we had the cameo by Susan Gibney, who played Dr. Leah Brahms in The Next Generation, reprising her role as the very famous scientist here that Geordie had the big crush on in the holodeck and everything. And there was a few episodes where he and Leah Brahms were trying to work out some problems. And I guess, she's a sort of famous Federation engineer and everything that, Rutherford has got a bit of a thing for. So it was interesting to see the fantasies of these guys. There was a bit of a situation where they ended up cracking, and we had our fantasies turn into nightmares, which, became gigantic, Wolfandorians and Borg snakes and, Klingon-ized clowns and everything with batleths for hands. And, Stevens being pursued by a creature that we saw in the animated series, the Kukulkan, from the Serpent's Tooth episode. And we've got Lieutenant Stevens being pursued by one in this episode. So there seems to always be a few animated series references in Lower Decks. They seem to like to throw those in there. A little bit of a fun moment to see that, I guess. We obviously had the guys trapped in a cave for a while where they unlocked the secrets of the data mining that was going on between the Stone people and the Federation scientists as well, to secretly use Federation tech to steal secrets and everything, and then I guess sell them off to the highest bidder. Meanwhile, we had Tendi doing science officer training, bouncing around between the ship's counselor, the avian race, I forget what his name is, and also, getting some advice from Dr. Ta'ana as well. And then the rest of the episode just kind of ended up being Freeman and Captain Mayer from the Carlsbad fighting over who was getting the rock. There have been much better episodes of Lower Decks than this. I think it wasn't really one of those episodes that had heaps of laughs in it. I don't recall even getting a chuckle out of this episode. And the story, to be honest, with the guys doing a bit of the cleanup on the planet, and then just the various captains of the Cali class ships fighting over who got to keep or who didn't get to keep the rock. Really, it was a little bit of a meh kind of episode, to be quite frank. And I guess I was a little bit disappointed because today being Star Trek Day, it's like, yay, Star Trek Day, woohoo! Where I thought maybe we'll get that DS9 episode of Lower Decks, or we'll get some bigger episode of Lower Decks to help commemorate and celebrate Star Trek Day in a bigger way. But I guess considering it was Star Trek Day, I expected more out of this episode as a bit of a bonus for us, you know. And it wasn't a bonus episode at all. If anything, it was a bit of an underwhelming episode, I thought. Really, beyond the very brief cameo for Dr. Leah Brahms, there wasn't really anything big deal about this episode at all. I think normally Lower Decks episodes tend to have either a really good story or a lot of really cool references and so forth. And obviously the best ones have, you know, a good story and, you know, a good sprinkling of Star Trek references in there. This episode didn't have really that many Star Trek references and, you know, Easter eggs in it, but it didn't also have a particularly engaging story either. So it was sort of a bit of a disappointment on both fronts, I think this episode was. And as I said, particularly because it was Star Trek Day, maybe I was expecting a little bit bigger bang for our buck this week. But speaking of bigger bangs for our bucks, obviously today being Star Trek Day, it's going to be really interesting to see what's on offer at the Star Trek Day live stream. So I'll be staying up to the very wee hours of the morning to cop a load of whatever's going on that front. Hopefully we've got some really good announcements. Hopefully we get a Picard Season 3 trailer. And you know, maybe some announcements, maybe an announcement for a new series, who knows? Obviously with Picard finishing up and the conclusion of the series there at the end of Season 3, it's leaving a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a void on the Star Trek front. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got an announcement of something that's coming after Picard finishes. So what is it going to be? I'm really looking forward to the Star Trek Day news. Hopefully it will give us a bit of excitement, a bit more bang for our buck that we didn't necessarily get to see in this week's Lower Decks. So looking forward to that one. All in all, underwhelming episode, not that funny, and not that engaging from a plot perspective, and not that engaging from a sort of you know, an Easter egg perspective of, you know, pointing out, you know, Star Trek in jokes and references and that sort of stuff either, really, beyond Leah Brahms. But I guess, you know, she was fun to see, I guess, so that's something. Guys, if you can, help support the channel by checking out the merch store. Heaps of new designs and everything in there. I've been working really hard, coming up with a bunch of new designs for the merch store. So I appreciate if you can check the merch store out and see what's on offer there. There's tons of new stuff there. I'm, you know, trying to put out new designs every day at some point. So hopefully you're liking some of those. Leave a super thanks if you're able to. It really helps the channel out as well. And also subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will be back very, very soon, probably right tomorrow, because whatever news we've got from Star Trek Day, we'll be talking about for sure. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow for whatever announcements we have to talk about from the Star Trek Day celebrations. So yeah, so happy Star Trek Day, happy Star Trek Day for everybody, and I'll be back very soon with my next video talking about some of the announcements from Star Trek Day, which we get very, very soon. I'll catch you then. See you guys.